listening to Chris Talks Cars on Cartoon Channel. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Chris Talks Cars. I am joined today once again by my good friend, Brandon Cole.
Hey, guys, I'm back.
And we are going to talk about his Swiss Army vehicle. If you remember a couple weeks ago, Brandon and I were talking about a project he was trying to do that would be fun on the street to drive around, meaning not a complete dog, but not a purpose-built race car. He wanted to do some off-roading, nothing super hardcore, so he wasn't going to go full rock crawler or mud bogger with it, just average guy's weekend utility vehicle. And since that episode, Brandon has bought said vehicle. Brandon, tell the people what you got.
Okay. Yeah. So I looked around and there's a lot of options out there, but trying to check every box that we went over in the last episode. It was kind of hard to check every box. I really wanted a Jeep Wrangler, but I just couldn't get past the engine options available for the price range I was looking at. So I ended up picking up a 1990 Ford Bronco. It's obviously 4-wheel drive, and it's got the 5.8 liter engine in it. It's the Eddie Bauer edition, so it's for 1990. It's pretty decked out, loaded. Got the good.
You fancy, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty nice. I mean, even my wife, she's pretty picky about vehicles, and being in them, she doesn't like riding around a piece of crap. So, but this one's
right.
It's just pretty nice. We went for a cruise yesterday. Had the top off, real nice outside. It's a lot of fun to drive, and so far, I'm just real happy with the purchase.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you went with the OJ special.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the two-tone blue with it's got some tan accents, like the topper is tan, and then like the bottom part of it is tan. So I think it looks pretty cool. Kind of an old school look to it, and
yeah, those Eddie Bauers were pretty awesome back in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, and it's got, I don't know really what all the options were back then, but it seems like this one's got it all. It's got cruise control and it works. It's got air conditioning and it works. It's got auto windows, auto doors. It's got, real nice and just interior and trim work, and everything's pretty plush for I paid $5,000 for it. So, all things considered, it's a lot of value for what I paid, and which is nice because, it's just less than I'm gonna have to do to it, to get it fixed up. It's roadworthy. It's a good daily driver if I wanted to right now. I've been driving it quite a bit in the last few weeks that I've owned it. And, I've took it and passed inspection without me having to do anything to it. So, I got real lucky. The guy actually advertised it at 82,000 original miles. After talking to him, I kind of got a little skeptical about it. And when I look in the interior, it definitely looks like it could have 82,000 original miles, but the exterior, same thing. It's real nice. There's a little bit of fading on one spot that I've been trying to buff out, but, he told me that, he replaced the transmission, and that's what really got me thinking. So if you're ever looking at a used car, pull a Carfax, because it showed it. It's
worth the $40.
Yeah, for sure. This actually ended up being about 180,000 miles as opposed to just 80,000. So,
oh wow,
it's a lot of miles, but it runs really good, and I don't think I'm going to have any serious problems with it. Plus, I planned on working on it and doing things anyways. One of these days, probably years down the line, I'll probably just run this engine until it gives me problems. But, it'll probably get a new engine one day anyways, because I'm going to want a little more than 210 horsepower to...
you're getting greedy now, man.
Yeah, right. But, back then, that was good. I think it's 210 horsepower and 315 pound-foot of torque, and it's pretty much all down low. It's not a high rev or anything like a lot of these newer dual overhead cam stuff. It's straight go flip rod motor, and it it'll spin the back tires pretty easy. So
hell yeah,
definitely do what I need to do right now. But yeah, I definitely see myself winning some more power later on down the line, and instead of trying to go with doing cam swaps and all that stuff, I think I'd just pull it and build it the right way.
Throw 7.3 in there.
No, it'll definitely keep the 5.8 that it's got in it. There's a lot of potential in those. There's tons of information out there from a lot of different sources, and the engine's just been around so long. So I think it's a really good platform to build off of. I don't think I would need it. That was another thing. I was thinking about engine swaps, but man, they're not fun. I've done one before, and they take a lot of time and money, and sometimes there's ingenuity. Like, you're literally thinking up stuff on your own because there might not be that much support for your specific application. And
watching it on Roadkill can give you a false sense of your ability, because you watch them, right. You're like, oh yeah, nothing works. Like the engine and trans and everything else is different. Like, you got to take the oil pan off a random vehicle that's not even of the same make from a decade earlier. Well, you're like, oh yeah, I could do all that.
Yeah, right.
No, you can't, because you're not Steve Dulcich and you don't have a junkyard in your backyard.
Well, yeah, that's what I was getting. Like, I think a lot of the things for doing swaps like that to make it easier is just simply having the facility and the proper tools. And a lot of these, like, you see this stuff, you read online, you watch your YouTube videos on swaps, and there are Joe Blow mechanics like myself that get out there and get it done. But a lot of these guys, they'll have, and I'm not exaggerating, like over six figures in tools and special equipment and lifts and a nice big shop, sometimes air conditioned. I have a friend that has a shop and it's air conditioned, and he's got a lift in it, and he's just got everything he needs, and he's got a welder, and he can fabricate his own stuff. He's got a pipe bender. He's got it all. So, I mean, it's if you have the right stuff, it can be, I'm still not going to call it easy, but it can be tolerable and not terrible, right. Especially if you've done it a few times. But yeah, if you don't have the right stuff, it's definitely not something you want to do in your garage, and definitely not something you're probably going to knock out in a weekend. Unless
you're LS swapping something, where
sure, there's a lot
it literally comes with like pictures and basically does everything for you.
Yeah, and even still, I still think people don't realize that that's not as simple and straightforward as a lot of people might think it is. Because again, there's so much support out there for it. So many people have done it. Like, oh, it's easy. But I know those guys. I've never done an LS swap, but I know those guys are sitting in the garage first time they did it, and they're cursing and yelling and pissed off. And once they're said and done, they look back, oh, it wasn't that bad. But I know it had to have been a pain in the butt. I've talked to a few guys at local car meets, and some people actually know that have done swaps, and it took them a long time to do it, and tracking down all the right parts and buying stuff. And it does take a lot of money to throw at it, getting adapters and all wiring harnesses.
Yeah, exactly. All the trans, if you may not be able to use the original trans, so you're doing engine and transmission.
Sure.
Then you got to worry about your trans tunnel, your cross member, and like you said, adapters for everything to go from GM to Ford or whatever.
Yeah. So anyways, I just wanted to avoid that if I could. So having a vehicle that starts off with a very capable, good engine, was nice. And I think all three of the engines offered in the Bronco would have suited me. I got lucky and I found the premium engine option for that year, which is the 5.8, but you can also get the 5.0 and the 4.9 straight six. They're all pretty solid, but definitely got the exact one I was looking for. I got lucky there. Pretty good.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And, so far I'm just doing maintenance on it, making sure it's going to be ready to go and not going to give me any problems. I've already kind of found one little issue. It's, you get heat soak in the starter. So when you go out to start it first time right out of my garage, starts up just fine. And then, if I, like yesterday, we took it out to, we went out to dinner last night, and, it was like real slow starting. I almost seemed like the battery was dead, but you could just keep cranking, no problem. So it was kind of weird. So it eventually it just kind of like cooled down for a few more minutes, and I guess it cooled off enough to where it would start. That's what I assume is going on. It's heat soak. So probably about time to go ahead and get me a new starter. I went up there and looked under there, and it looks like
wrap her in some aluminum foil, brother. Call it good.
Yeah, there are some there are actually heat wraps for these starters, and that could be an option as well. But I noticed right when I bought it that the starter did seem a little weak anyway, so that'd be cheap insurance policy just to go ahead and swap that out and not have to worry about it.
Yeah, it's probably an hour, maybe
less.
To do
yeah,
it?
and I looked under it. It isn't a terrible spot. I really hate that Ford engineers like literally hate like do-yourself mechanics. Like the oil filter location up in there is under that twin tower I-beam suspension, and so it's like this little hole that you can kind of reach up in. I haven't swapped it out yet. I'm not looking forward to it at all, but I think I might even actually have to lift the vehicle up to be able to have enough space to pull the oil filter off. I'm not 100% sure on that yet.
Really?
I'm not 100% sure on it yet, but it looks that way. I can probably squeeze it out, maybe with spilling all that oil everywhere, because they got the filter.
Well, your Dodge one isn't much better, my friend. I went to change the oil in mine, and there's like you have to tip it sideways to pull it out.
Oh, well,
you got to get the little plug thing to put on top.
Yeah, so on those, I actually just I would fill it up like 3/4 of the way, and then because like the rest of it, you'll just spill out going in there. So now the 3/4, and then just put it on there.
No, I mean pulling it out.
Oh, well. So what are you saying?
No, I'm saying you're talking about how difficult the Ford one is. That Dodge one's not much better. You got to tip it over to get it out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't even putting it back on. Because I would put oil back in the fuel filter.
Right.
Yeah. But no, I think this one's going to be worse than that Cummins engine for sure. Because you actually have to get up under it, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to jack it up to get enough clearance for it. So, but
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't done it yet, so it just looks stupid. It's like every time I work on a Ford, I don't want to bash Ford. I kind of like them, but they're always a little bit more difficult for no reason at all. I've had pretty good luck working on a lot of Mopar stuff, and maybe I'm just more comfortable working on those diesels. I don't know, but yeah, it seemed like
it seems to be a common theme
for Ford. Yeah. But either way, it doesn't look challenging. It's just more than you would expect.
Just annoying.
Yeah, mostly an inconvenience, I would say.
Right.
But yeah, so there it is. I got big plans for it. Just doing maintenance, little things right now, keeping it going, or making sure it's going to be a good, reliable thing for me. And it'll get wheels and tires and lift kit. It's already actually got a cold air intake on it. I doubt it does anything, but it sounds kind of cool and it looks decent under the hood. And
hell yeah, brother.
And I'm looking into an exhaust and a couple of little things. I'm not going crazy with it right now. Eventually, I don't want to do anything to the engine until I pull it. I'll end up just pulling it and trying to make some halfway decent power out of it.
Right. Do those have aluminum intakes?
Yes, they do. Yeah. Two-piece.
That's
aluminum.
Good.
Yeah.
Again, more difficult.
It's actually like the most restrictive part of the engine, or one of them. I guess the cylinder heads are probably pretty close second. But for low end torque, doesn't really matter a whole lot. There's still more power to be had swapping them out or doing some porting on them. But they suit pretty well for low end type stuff, off-roading, whatnot, towing.
There you go. That's good.
So, yeah, I think it'll suit me fine for a little while until I decide to dump a bunch of money into the engine and make it something it's not supposed to be.
Put a 871 on top of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
just all lower.
I did look into thought of those carburetor setups and everything. A lot of the forums they're talking about you're just gonna regret doing it, especially for off roading. You lose all that throttle response. And that sort of thing.
Oh yeah.
But I think I'm gonna keep it fuel injected. I just really enjoy driving it. It's fun car to drive. It's one of the late 1990. That body style is probably the least desirable Bronco on the road right now.
Probably,
and because it's not real pretty, but it's still cool, man. I get thumbs up driving around with the top off, because you don't see them all the time. It's not a rare car or anything, but you just don't see them all the time on the road.
Yeah.
Especially you don't see them with the top off. If you don't really know what you're looking for, it just kind of looks like a weird short F-150. If you've
That's really what it looks like.
Yeah. And so I think a lot of people don't pay attention to it. When you have the top off, it's like I get like little kids in the window, like giving me a thumbs up and people looking at me. I think half of them might be looking at like, what the heck is that? And another half like thinking it's cool. And probably some people thinking I'm driving around a total pile of crap, but
that's how you know it's a good vehicle, man, is when it evokes a response.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised that it actually gets any attention because, I mean, to me, it's just a toy that, normally the things that I like aren't real popular. Like I just like old crappy trucks. A lot of the times it's like my most favorite thing to drive around. And it's almost kind of what this is. And, but yeah, it's gotten a lot of,
I mean, yeah, kind of. It's 30 years old. That's an old pickup, man.
It is. Yeah. It's, qualifies as a classic. I went and got my plates the other day. It qualified for those classic plates. Of course, I got my typical douchebag veteran plates because why not?
It's the please don't give me a ticket plates.
It's pretty much what it is. And they've got me a ticket spot too. Normally don't like that because they do draw a little bit of attention and
well, it's the people that have like 36 stickers and like you were in the military 30 years ago, man. It almost feels like the high school quarterback. Like I appreciate your service, but
yeah,
you got to stop talking about the glory days.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just kind of did it for me. I thought it was kind of cool, something to show.
Yeah,
but,
I put it on my Dodge, and it was the first vehicle I put it on, but yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's kind of just a little subtle thing, but whatever. They're also free for veterans around here, so it saved me $1 anyways.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's that, and hopefully I'll have some more updates on what we're doing to it, and hopefully you'll be moving here soon enough so you can help me.
Heck yeah, man. That's the goal. It's looking like I was talking to you earlier. It's possibly sooner than early next year, but definitely at some point within the next 9 months, I'll be a Texas resident, I'd say.
Yeah. That's gonna be
I'm looking
great.
forward to it.
While we're on this Bronco topic, so are you aware that there is a new 2021 Bronco coming out?
I am aware of it. I have not looked at it. I was waiting. You said you want to talk about it, so now I'm looking at it.
So this month is supposed to get actually released. So we'll actually have all the official stuff. So right now, I think a lot of it is educated speculation from people like Car and Driver, reputable writers.
Right.
And so far, it looks wise, it's awesome. There is a sport one, so it's like a smaller version of it that I don't even want to really talk about. So it's just going to be their economy.
It's like the Bronco 2.
Yeah. It's just going to be like a little vehicle to help them make some revenue. I think this is going to be the flagship, the good one, the only real option if you want to do any off-roading. It's going to be what's going to compete with the Wrangler. It's going to be the biggest competition for the Wrangler. And I think, I mean, I don't want to talk anything bad about Wranglers because I really like them, but I think they got to watch out, man, because the biggest thing here is they have the engine options to back it up. Now, they haven't released them yet, but so far what they're thinking is it's definitely going to get the it's a 2-liter or a 2.3-liter 4-cylinder turbo, which I think is just going to be the base model engine. And then it's also going to get the 2.7-liter V6 twin turbo, which is offered in the F-150s and a couple other things as well.
Yeah, the EcoBoost.
Yeah, the EcoBoost. It's 400 pound-feet of torque in the F-150 platform at a pretty low RPM. So it should be a really good low-end torquey off-road engine and probably won't be too terrible on fuel economy and everything else. At 325 horsepower as well is what it's in the F-150. So I would assume it's going to match this in the Bronco. But it's from the reading here, it seems like they're not going to give it the 3.5. I guess they don't want to steal the flagship from the F-150.
Maybe if they do like a Raptor Bronco
so
down the line.
There's some talk
which
about
the
this.
Front grille, I'm looking at the car and driver pictures, and the front of it looks like a Raptor front end. It's got the big Ford in the grill with the halo headlights and stuff.
Yeah, I'm looking at the same picture you are, and yeah, I think that's so. These, if I don't know if you looked at the old '60s Broncos, this is a retro styling from the '60s.
Okay.
Or the '70s, one of the two or both. I don't know. So the whole thing is retro styled to that, and so this is the 4-door one you're looking at. I think the same thing. There is going to be a 2-door option, which is what I'm more.
I'm looking at the 2-door.
Oh, you're looking at.
Yeah, I'm looking at the 2-door.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the 4-door right now. I can't find any good pictures of the 2-door. I saw some earlier, but I'm excited about the 4-door because that's kind of the, stays true to its roots and all that stuff. The 4-door I think is gonna be great. It's gonna be like the Wrangler. It's gonna sell really well because it's practical. But I think the 2-door is gonna be super cool. And to be honest, I probably will wait for a used one to come out, but this may be an option for me in the future. But the thing is the engine options. I think they're going to have to throw more at it. So one thing they're talking about is just if there was like some sort of SVT variant of it, like the Raptor, it may get the 3-liter, which is offered in like it's a 3-liter twin turbo, which is offered in some like the Lincoln stuff and some of the like the SVO, the Taurus, I think, or something like that.
Oh, the SHO Taurus.
SHO Taurus.
That was such underrated vehicle, man.
Yeah.
A 400 horsepower twin turbo all-wheel drive sedan that nobody gave two shits about.
Yeah, I was actually really surprised. I think they actually derated the engine on release, so I think it actually maybe ran a little bit less than that 400 horsepower. Still though, I think it was still something closer to like 365 and 400 pound-feet of torque. So it's still a respectable, quick vehicle, but I think it might get one of those engines. And I think that engine now does make 400. So I don't know if that car's still available. So maybe now it makes 400. I don't know.
I don't know. But still, it was a badass car that nobody seemed to really care about, which kind of sucked.
It sounds like it might get that off, maybe that offer, maybe not right away, but it's potential. I am thoroughly disappointed, and I knew they were going to do this. So far, we don't think that it's going to get the 5.0.
Yeah, that's the thing I was going to bring up. I'm looking at the road and track one now, the green 4-door.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that just looks like a Explorer variant more than a Bronco. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's so you're talking about that little one. Yeah.
The 4-door. Yeah. No, I don't like the 4-door.
Well, there's 2 4-door. You get the big one and then you have the little one, but then the 2-door is also offered in the larger one. From what I'm seeing, so you're going to have the big full size one will be offered as a 2-door and a 4-door.
Okay.
Like the Wranglers.
Right.
So I think they're modeling this thing just to directly compete with Wranglers in every way. Just because, like, right now, if you want to go buy like legit off-roading machine and in the lightweight SUV sector, I mean, the Wrangler's kind of king of the hill, really, especially if you go like the Rubicon. It's got full lockers and everything. It's, there are some Toyotas and other things that are good options as well, but I don't think anything right off the showroom floor can really
no, I'd have to agree with you, especially after Toyota got rid of the FJ Cruiser. I don't know how capable like the TRD 4Runners are out of the box.
Yeah,
but that's a different price range too. Like, aren't the Toyotas quite a bit more expensive than a Rubicon?
Yeah, well, no, Rubicons are terribly overpriced. I think it would be much better off getting like a base model Wrangler and just like adding a few things and lockers and a little suspension feel stuff. You'd still be in a brand new vehicle for less than what they're offering those, but nonetheless, it is extremely capable right off the showroom floor. And the Toyota TRDs they're also really good as well. I watched some testing on that on dirt every day, and it really held its own. They're great vehicles also. But I still think that if you had to pick one to do real hardcore off-roading in factory form, I think the Wrangler is still going to be the way to go. But
I'd probably have to agree with you.
I think this Bronco might give it a little run for its money, though. It's definitely got a better engine options, in my opinion, even just with these two. Hopefully it gets a few other things. I really think if they give it the 5.0, I just don't understand why they wouldn't, because that's what everybody wants. They want the old school 5.0 that you can use to get it in the older Broncos. It's kind of what made its name. You got this little SUV with a nice big V8 in it, a lot of power. And the 2.7 is going to have plenty of power. Nobody likes the sound of them. They sound terrible, but they are very good, powerful engines. But they're not going to have that exhaust note that all the red blood Americans want.
That's true, man. And to Ford's point, the potential straight out of the box, all their engines are already turboed.
Right.
So even if you get the small one with very minor intake, exhaust, and some ECU tuning, you're going to be sweet.
Yeah.
And the Jeeps, you either have to
80, 90.
Yeah, you got to do a swap. You got to do a swap into a Jeep or build a motor for boost, because from what I understand, those V6s don't handle boost well.
Yeah,
out of the box at least.
Yeah, well, I think they handle it really well, but I think they're limited on how much power they can actually make. I think I've heard of some 3.5s making like pretty much stock factory engine, making somewhere around the 600 horsepower mark.
In the Jeeps?
Oh, no, sorry. I thought you were talking about the 2.7, 3.5s. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was saying, to Ford's credit, like, those engines out of the box are better than the Jeep engines, and with very little work can be way better.
Yeah.
The Jeep, you have to either swap in a V8 or build that engine for boost.
Yeah.
And from what I heard, because out of the box, the Jeep engines don't handle boost very well.
Yeah, you're right. I have seen some supercharged ones. I've never seen a turbocharged. It's a 3.6 liters with they come in the newer Wranglers, and they're pretty solid. They make good numbers, but they're kind of high revvers. A lot of the torque is available in the higher RPM range, which doesn't suit like off-roading that well. Of course, they do make up for it with a lot of gearing and transmission stuff, so it's still pretty good. But they do have the new eco diesel option for the Wranglers, which is really hard to compete with because that's a real torquey low end engine, plus it gets awesome fuel economy. So if I was going to go Wrangler, that's probably the route I would go. I think it's probably definitely going to be a lot slower, but it's got a lot of torque still, and I mean diesels are awesome, so why not? But
they are awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm looking forward to later this month. Sounds like that's when they're going to release some more information. It may get pushed back. I don't know. It seems like that happens a lot. So something to look forward to later this year. We should see some more information, and towards the end of the year, November, December, might even see some on the road. That'd be really cool.
That would be cool.
Haven't seen one
new
since 1996. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. No. I was saying, speaking of small diesels, when I was in Australia, they have like all their trucks are mid to small size trucks, and they have the Land Rovers with diesels, and to hear those things all like hopped up with big turbos and stuff was pretty fun. That
is kind of cool. See, I've never seen one hopped up before, but I am familiar with those older diesels a little bit, and I think they're really cool. I think I've never actually worked on one or anything, but I've seen them and they seem like they've been pretty refined because they've used them for so long. And
I feel Americans really are missing out on the small diesel market. Like literally everywhere else in the world uses the crap out of small diesel. We're starting to slowly. Yeah. And I get like back in the day, maybe they wouldn't have been able to compete because everyone wants a, 6-liter Cummins or something crazy. Sure,
But the big three all offer small ones now. You got the Power Stroke, Duramax, and the Eco Diesel are all offered in the half-ton trucks and I call them the baby trucks, like the Rangers, and Colorados, and all that. I think they all have the small diesel option now, and I think they're pretty sweet, man. They're going to be good towing engines, and you're going to definitely get better fuel economy with them. Good daily drivers.
It's all the things Americans claim to want in an engine. Like, they're going to last forever. Yeah. You're going to get great mileage.
They're not selling that well, though, because I think a lot of people just don't understand it. They look at the horsepower rating, and it's like 250 horsepower or something versus like the V8 variant, which is like 400 horsepower, and most of them.
Right.
So you're losing almost half your horsepower, but they don't. I don't think a lot of people really understand that. You know,
they definitely need a better PR person.
Yeah, for sure. And they are slow. I've talked to several guys, and they're saying like, man, they love everything about it. Tows well, gets great fuel economy, good daily driving around town. They said if you want to stomp on it, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say you can't have everything, but you can.
You can. It takes breaking the law.
It just costs money.
Deleting it and doing all that. But yeah. It's just the way it is. But on that note, all these diesels coming here, and now we've got EVs, electric vehicles.
Oh yes, the demon hybrids.
Yeah, well, not even just that, just the full electrics. So I think even these hybrid, like Ford's got I think they have a whole bunch of hybrids available right now, and this year or into this year, or early next year, the Mustang Mach-E is going to be the first full electric thing from Ford, and I've been reading up on it, looking at it, and it looks like they have like everything from a pretty basic one it's claiming something like mid 5 second or mid 6 second 0 to 60s, all the way up to super fast, mid 3 seconds 0 to 60 times, dual engine, all that stuff. But the GT, the fast one's going to start at 60,000, and like the more basic one's going to start the most basic one you can get starts at $43,800.
Ford does like their SUVs. They really.
Well, this is like, I don't know, like what you classify this as. It's like I would say it's more of a crossover, I guess. So it's a car, but it's kind of got some SUV characteristics. Like it's got a hatch trunk.
Right.
It's probably somewhat roomy back there. I don't know. What I don't understand is why they gave it a Mustang badge. It kind of doesn't.
Me either. Work. It's upsetting, really. Like,
I mean,
why you're trying to?
It's amazing, but I mean, I don't think it's going to follow suit with what the Mustang is.
No, and Mitsubishi did the same thing with that weird Eclipse crossover. It's like, they're so desperate to. I don't even know what they're desperate for, but they're just trying to like grab at the lineage of this Mustang. And it's like, first off, it's an SUV, which even if it was gas powered would be insulting, but then it's electric. So not only are you robbing the badge and the heritage, you're putting like, I don't know.
Yeah. It makes me, I think they should have I think I read something maybe about they're going to offer an electric Mustang, or maybe it's a hybrid type Mustang later on. And now I'm wondering why they didn't just save that like Mustang Mach-E for that badge, or that badge for the electric or hybrid Mustang. It doesn't make sense to me.
To take it a step further, do you think they should make an electric Mustang, or do you think they should put the name to bed and come up with a new? Because it's once you go from gas to electric, it's not like a new body style or new from a V8 to a V6 even. Like you're changing the entire everything about the car.
Everybody's doing it. Like even the Ram 1500 has an e-torque thing, so it's actually like an electric engine that like helps get it going. I guess saves for around town fuel economy. It might even help a little bit of towing type stuff. So everybody's going this way. I mean, car guys like us, or at least like me, I'm sure you're kind of feeling the same way, but I hate it. I really don't want electric to take over, but it's going to. It's just the way it is.
I hate, so the Prius kind of gave everyone the worst possible taste in their mouth for hybrids, in my opinion. If the first hybrid that came out was the big three, the McLaren P1, the Porsche 918, or the Ferrari, like people would have a way different opinion of it. You know what I mean? So
sure, yeah.
hybrid, I'll stand behind because it makes everything about our cars better performance wise.
Yeah.
Fully electric,
well, I think
I'm a little hesitant of, and I'm with you because it takes the soul out of it. But I also think for certain cornerstone flagship brands like your Mustang, your Camaro, I don't know, just if you're going to stop making them gasoline, put the name to bed. Like the new world, new sports car, this. I don't know.
Yeah, well, see, one thing that I was misinformed about was, especially when you go look at these Teslas and their curb weights, they're really heavy. They're like for a car, they're real heavy. I mean, they're heavier than like the Challengers and Chargers and stuff, but they're still crazy fast in a straight line. But it made me wonder how quick they would be around a track. I looked them up on the Nürburgring, and how do you properly say that?
Nürburg, that's how I say it. I don't know.
That's how I say it. I know it's got to be said some different way, but
you just kind of mumble past it and hope people know what you mean. Oh, the Nürburgring.
Yeah, so that's
in Germany, the Nürburgring. You know what I'm talking about,
right? Yeah. So, anyways, I read an article about this Tesla going around there, and apparently it didn't even finish under full power. And it laid. I mean, it wouldn't. I don't think it was a terrible lap time. I can't remember exact figures, but
they do pretty well because all the weight in the batteries is in the floor. So the center of gravity, for as ridiculously heavy as they are, is still pretty low. So they do all right, but they're sprinters
for sure. Yeah, well, anyway, so then I was talking to Norton, our buddy from the Navy, and he was telling me that he goes to a couple of these races, where they do like the hill climbs and you see like Indy cars, crazy fast cars doing, racing up and down mountains, that sort of thing. And he said King of the Hills right now are like electric vehicles in a lot of these categories. So they're just insanely fast. And I didn't think that they could really handle as well as the lighter weight gasoline powered engines. So it's just another kick in the nuts to me. It's just like, dang, man. It's like, not only are they faster 0 to 60, they're starting to be able to handle it exceptionally well too.
Yeah, it's a scary new frontier. Sure. I don't think within our lifetime we have to worry about the gasoline engine being snuffed out completely.
Yeah,
but
so
it's coming, it seems.
Yeah, I think one thing that we are going to start seeing more of, hopefully, because there are going to be purists that they want the V8s and they want because if you really look at it on paper, like if you go buy a brand new F-150, aside from the price, there's absolutely no reason to buy the 5.0 V8 over the 3.5 liter. You get, right. I mean, on paper, I think the 5 liter has a little bit more horsepower, but it's down a whole bunch of torque, and that's really the only thing that matters in a truck.
It's rated for less towing, isn't it? The 5.0?
Way less towing. The
that's
5.0
that's crazy.
The 5.0 is king of the hill for the F-150, and it costs, I think, a couple $1,000s more, and but you get a ton more torque, and I think if you drive it right, a lot of people say they're still terrible on fuel economy, but I think they are decent on fuel economy if you keep it out of the boost. And
right.
So on paper and realistically, it doesn't make any sense to buy the V8, but the V8 still sells, and I don't think it's a price thing. I think it's merely people want the V8. They want to put a Flowmaster exhaust on, and they want it to sound good. And these V6s don't sound. But what I was getting at is there's options like that that are starting to become really competitive. As technology starts going on, it's the direct injection on a gasoline engine is kind of somewhat new. It's starting to become more popular, and so these EcoBoosts are getting direct injection paired with port injection, more old school type injection, with their twin turbo, small displacement, and they're making lots of torque that you would never see in a small displacement engine 20 years ago. And now they're just, I mean, they're really making headway. So I think that we are going to see more engines that are a little bit more fuel efficient, but are capable of making a lot of power to maybe be able to counter some of these electric engines. Because I can tell you that, you know, maybe 10, 15 years from now, I might buy my wife an electric vehicle. I don't see myself buying one anytime soon.
I don't know.
Maybe not
I've never driven one. Well, I take that back. I drove my sister's. She had a Fiat 500e.
Yeah.
And it was like a go-kart, man. You got all the torque right now. Yeah. It was front wheel drive, so it didn't have any traction. So you could hit a mud puddle and just roast the front tires. Like, it was fun, man. But I mean, I've never driven a hybrid, so I don't know how that would be.
I don't know if I want to tell the world this, but I have driven a Prius before. I went with my grandma. She bought a brand new Prius, and I went to the dealership, helped negotiate with her, and trade in her vehicle and all that. And so she wanted me to drive it home. I don't know why, but so I drove it, and it is kind of weird, you know, and you can tell when the electric kicks in. Of course, those aren't powerful engines at all, but it is very instant. It's kind of just something that I guess we're really used to. We're usually used to gasoline engines, but I don't know. I mean, that one didn't really impress me at all because it's a Prius, but I could see some of these other ones like being really cool to drive. It's just like what do you like as a car guy? What do I do to it? Like I buy it, and
I know
now I drive it. Like half the fun to me is out there in my garage working on it. Like if it's like perfect, ready to go, it's like that's why I could never own like a supercar. I mean, I say that now. Of course, if I was a millionaire, I probably would, but like it doesn't make sense to me because it's like, okay, what do I do to it? I don't do anything to it. I'm used to owning crappy vehicles that I have to do stuff to make them run right. And then they don't have enough power. So I want more power. So I make them make more power. And what do? I log onto my computer and like click turn on more power button. I don't know. Like,
heck yeah, man.
I guess that's how it goes. I mean, you can overclock them like you would your computer at home. Gaming computer, you can overclock the ECU or something. Or
maybe
upgrade the graphics card in your Tesla. How's that work?
There you go.
Yeah,
let's put new graphics card in the whip.
Yeah, so it's that aspect of it is what turns me off on it. But I'm sure things are going to come out, and as people like Joe Blows like myself start to understand them more, you might be able to do your own modifications.
Big computers. Like once they start jailbreaking them, just like they do ECUs on other cars, which it probably won't because Tesla uses beyond state-of-the-art encryption because all their cars are linked.
So if you look at a lot of stuff that gets jailbroken, it's normally older technology. So I would say maybe years from now that sort of stuff
in a few years for sure.
I mean,
but who knows? They may keep live updating it forever. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's possible. I don't know how long Tesla's been around. I feel like
it's a safety thing though, because if it gets hacked by you, that's fine. If it gets hacked by some jerk next to you and it runs you into a telephone pole, not so fine. Yeah. So the encryption on those is pretty ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. They're definitely a little bit beyond me. So I'm sure as they gain more popularity, I'm going to be brushing up on it, learning more. So I don't, I kind of halfway know what I'm talking about whenever I do talk to the newer generation of car guys. It's one of my favorite things to do is just sit around and talk about cars, but I can't really hold an actual conversation about electric vehicles right now. So actually for the past couple hours, I've been just kind of reading up on what options are out there, what's the new stuff coming out, what's the best ranges and 0-60 times on them, all that kind of stuff that's going on, the basics.
Yeah. From what I understand, the biggest limiting factor from electric vehicles just taking off is batteries and being able to get them light enough and to be able to store enough so where it's viable for a cross country trip, like a truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people are scared of, I think. So like, I guess if you have, so for me, for example, it's not unusual at all for me to log 200 miles a day, and I can definitely go over that. And that's in a company vehicle. So like, I guess most of these vehicles are over 200 miles. So, I mean, I would probably be okay, but I mean, you're kind of cutting it close to, you know, if I sit around and idle a lot and work on my computer in my car, which I do as well, that drains battery.
And in that Texas heat in the summer, your air conditioning's never not going to be on.
For sure. So I think like a lot of these guys are claiming, you know, like mid 300s to mid to upper 200s for a lot of these different vehicles that I'm seeing here. And you know, like 239, 258. I think the highest one out right now is Tesla at 391. That's on the Model S long range, which is a 6-figure car almost. I think starting price.
Oh yeah,
82,000.
Yeah, they're not cheap. That's for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, you're talking about stuff that I'll never own, that category of car, but
there's actually a pretty good video on YouTube. 1320 did it a few years ago. A dude completely gutted his Model S. Yeah. Oh yeah, it just was ripping. Yeah.
That was pretty crazy. That one guy, he had a pretty much fully race trailered Fox body. I don't know if he's turbocharged or supercharged or whatever. It is a legitimately fast car with tubbed, big slicks and all that. Couldn't hang with him. That all-wheel drive launch was just, there's nothing he could do.
No, it's insane. It's not even fair. Like, it's frustrating how perfect they are. Yeah. Like, all the torque is right now from zero. Yep. The traction control is 1,000 times a second or whatever, taking readings, and is instant to adjust the torque for the traction as it is to push the gas. Like, everything happens right now. Yeah. You don't have to worry about cutting timing and wait for the boost to drop and this and that. Like, yes, you can't compete. You just can't. Yeah, insane.
I think automakers, if anybody wants the internal combustion engine to live on and actually be competitive with these electric engines, we have a long way to go. We're going to have to make them more efficient and much more powerful. And I think these EcoBoosts are a start of where internal combustion is headed.
Sure. I think hybrids is where it's at. Honestly, you don't have to have a $10,000 crazy battery. You get, you can put a half the size engine as you normally would, slap a turbo on it. Like, it's the best of both worlds, right? In a lot of ways. So I think that's where it'll go for a long time before it ever truly switches to like full EV. So
I kind of like that concept a little bit. The weight is what gets me on those. If I'm going for a car, a truck, I wouldn't even hesitate. That'd be great. But I saw Porsche did something. This is quite a while ago, so it's probably old technology by now. But so they had the car basically run entirely off of an internal combustion engine. And then it had, a little battery and an electric engine in there. And I think this electric engine was capable of delivering something like 100-ish horsepower. But it functioned kind of like nitrous would. So you just kind of press this button and you get your extra power, right? And it's only good for like a 9-second or 10-second sprint at a time. So like something like that sounds kind of cool. I mean, you're on a straightaway, you're on a drag race, you just have that extra power right there available whenever you need it. And then I guess the computer like tells you your battery's dead, so you drive around more and you build up the power again on it. Never seen it, just something I read about a while back. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways of doing it, and of like recharging them, and the way they disperse the energy. Like even between the big three, the Porsche, the McLaren, and the Ferrari, they all have very different hybrid setups.
Yeah.
And I'm blanking off the top of my head because, of course, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're all very different. The way they do the regenerative braking and like it's just all completely different.
Yeah. I drove around it was one of my friends from the Navy. He had the Chevy Volt, I think. I guess it runs entirely off the engine, but you can like charge it at home from, I guess you get like a 50-mile range or something like that. And then like braking helps you charge it back up. And I think it even had like some solar panels on it or something. But realistically, you just kind of like, if you're going to the grocery store and back, you just run all electric. But anything else, like going clear across town, you're pretty much going to run the battery down. It wasn't really good for nothing. But if you're just a short commuter, it was a pretty sweet deal. And it drove really nice. We took it on the road trip, and I don't think we even got it out of town before we ran out of battery on it.
Right.
Didn't last very long.
Yeah, it's still in its infancy, and that's how we got to kind of look at it. Like it feels like it's this old technology because it has been introduced like a long time ago. Well, not that long ago, 10, 15 years, but in the scope of the automotive industry, that's no time really.
Yeah. So I think when Tesla first came out, I didn't pay any attention to them because I think Chevy back in early 90s, 80s timeframe, they actually released a all electric vehicle back then. And I don't know, maybe it had like something like 100 or 150 mile range. It might have been less. I don't know. Something like that. But like a lot of the reviews I read on it, it was perfect. It's kind of like the equivalent to like a Tesla today. It was like everything you need. You take it home, you charge it up, you never go to a gas station. And if you're just daily commuting around the city, it's not a big deal and it's easy. You know, I think a lot of people didn't travel like long distances as much as like we do today and that kind of stuff because I couldn't you didn't have GPS back then. So you couldn't just be like, okay, I'm going to poke around to like 5 different points that I've never been to like I do today.
Right.
So I don't think it was as demanding as it is now, but so that back then I would say probably, was way more than enough to sue most people. And so I think what had happened was, a lot of other oil companies just basically did everything they could to shut this down because they're so scared of it. But
yeah, there's a couple stories of that where there'll be some like internal combustion competitor that they'll buy the patent for it and then just shelf it.
Yeah, same thing with like, was it that hydrogen powered? Like you basically power any internal combustion engine. It makes your engine like incredibly fuel efficient or maybe just completely eliminates gasoline altogether. And I watched some videos on it, and I don't really know enough on it to really comment that much on it. But from what I saw, it didn't make sense why it didn't take off, other than big oil companies said, "Hell no, this is going to bankrupt us. Shut it down."
Yeah. Well, another thing to look at is you got to look at infrastructure, which is another big problem with switching to all electric. Like to redo the automotive network to get gasoline or get hydrogen or get electricity at all the places you can now is decades of complete infrastructure renovation. So not I'm sure some of it is the big evil auto industry, but some of it is, man, that is a big ship to try and
it is like
change direction.
Like here in Little Sanger, Texas, there's nowhere to charge your vehicle unless you have like just a charging station at home. And I personally only know of one. I'm sure there's more than one in Denton, which is the next closest town to us, which is a pretty good sized city. So like, I mean, if I owned one and, aside from, let's say I got that deal installed at home, which I don't know how much that cost, probably definitely be worth it if I was going to keep one for a while, but
it's an investment.
Really?
It's not like to get a supercharger installed at home. I don't know how much, but I want to say it's not cheap. Let me look it up real quick.
I could imagine it'd be expensive, but for right now where I live, I don't think it would make a whole lot of sense for me to have that unless, like you said, I had the charger at home to charge it whenever I wanted, because, I can't charge it anywhere around here in town. I can't, there's one spot that I actually shop at in the next town over that I could probably go to, but I only shop there maybe once or twice a month. So, it wouldn't make sense for me to own one right now unless I had the ability to charge at home, which I don't, like you said, we don't know how much that costs. I guess we'll find out here in a second.
Yeah. So the charger itself looks like it's about $500, but you have to have 240 outlet installed.
Well, that's not terrible. I mean, we're talking about an electrician coming out and doing that, a couple $1,000 investment. So I was talking out of my ass. I was thinking like $5-7 grand. Well, I was too. I thought it was closer to 5,000, but I mean, I guess, I work in construction, so I know I can get an electrician out there to do work like that for a couple $1,000, have it installed and be a done deal. But still, it's still an investment, but I think that would probably, but like you were saying earlier, like the infrastructure and everything, if we did a hard switch to electric, I think it would hurt the economy terribly. Disabling oil.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough to
when you move to
comment
Texas,
intelligently. I drove through the oil fields. Like I see that, but the infrastructure, the amount of jobs that would create, I don't know if it would like stabilize it.
Maybe
if it happened overnight, for sure. Like if, whoever President Trump said, tomorrow we're switching to all electric, that would be awful. But I don't know, man, the amount of infrastructure, the next wave of technology is going to require is pretty crazy.
Yeah, you could be right. I was watching actually Jay Leno, and I guess he bought one of the Teslas when they first came out. He's like, this is it, man. It's the future. He goes, I don't change my oil on this. I don't have to change air filters on it, fuel filters on it. He's like, I don't have to do anything to it. All I do is get in, drive it, and charge it. He goes, they're super low maintenance, and he goes, this is it, man. This is the future. And this is a couple years ago, I think he said this, and I was like, I don't want to hear this right now, but it's coming, I think. But yeah, you might be right. Maybe not take over completely in our lifetime. I think I read something about where it would take close to 20 years, just maybe more, to really get a lot of gasoline powered engines off the road.
Yeah. Everyone, and myself included, I'm so used to living in big major cities that I think that, like everyone in this city, you could get it done in no time. But then once you drive, like I did from here to Texas, you realize how much of the country it would there's so much. There's so many people to get gasoline engines off the road. It's like trying to kill all the ants. Like every corner you turn around, there's some old boy with a junkyard with 500 cars in it. And he's been, parking out there since he got back from the war. Yeah. So I really think hybrids is it's complementary to both gas and electric.
So, we've been talking about like daily driver stuff, maybe mild sports stuff. So I wonder how it would take over in the legit racing scene, especially like top fuel dragster stuff. Like how capable or how easy would it be for to make something lightweight enough to get down the track in absurd amount of times like top fuel dragsters do?
I think something like that would be the easiest application. You only have to make it 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I guess you may be right. Yeah. Maybe it would.
So, my complete jackass bro science opinion on it would be, if you were to do it in something like that, you would use your electric engines off the line where your gas engine is on paper the weakest, right? Down low, starting movement. You'd get that for the first 60 feet, 80 feet. And then your gasoline engine would take over on the top end.
Maybe.
That's just off the top of my head. That's all I can think of. I think the real challenge would be endurance racing, and you would either have to have some kind of quick swap battery setup.
So that's one thing I've been seeing. So they have these batteries that are on the lower, in between the two wheels, like underneath the vehicle corner, rocker panels. It basically pulls out like it's almost like part of the vehicle or part of the body itself, and it pulls out from underneath it. Maybe like one on each side, balance it out. And part of their pit crew, they just come in, literally pull it out, pop a new one back in. It's like changing out batteries in a remote control car. It seemed like they were doing it. I don't know if they have it to where they can just like zip in and out like they do in NASCAR pits or anything like that, but it seemed relatively straightforward. Plug in and you have power again.
Well, that's how it'll have to go to get to us, is racing teams. And it's already happening. Formula E is a thing. Like, instead of Formula One, it's Formula E.
Oh, really? I haven't even heard of that.
Audi completely pulled out of the prototype of Le Mans and stuff like that. They're just doing Formula E. And it's like a video game. They have, normal Formula One has like the push to pass. Yeah. You know what that is?
No.
So, you're limited. They've got all the regulations, like you're limited to X number of pounds of boost. Well, you have 10 seconds of push to pass that ups your boost level.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they have Formula E racing that it's fully electric, like Formula One style cars, like open top, cutting edge stuff. But there's like part of the track that if you take the corner wide, it's like the recharge zone, and it, like, air quotes, recharges your push to pass stuff.
Okay.
It's like watching real life video game, man.
I'd like to look into that a little bit. That sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, you'll have to watch it. But my point was, that's how consumer technology, at least in the automotive industry, has gone. Once the racing starts pushing the technology, then it trickles down to us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it seems like that's what's been happening for the last century. Basically, I'll start racing, and then it trickles down to
exactly.
Okay. Well, I mean, shoot. Yeah, that's definitely more stuff to look forward to in the future. Here's electric vehicle, new Bronco coming out, Mustang Mach-E.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So one more quick thing before you go, because we've been almost an hour already.
Yeah.
I want to come up with a signature segment here, and you're going to be my guinea pig. If you had a car or a garage, 5-car garage, what do you put in it? And that, because I've kind of gone through a few evolutions of the question. I was thinking, if you had a certain dollar amount, do you buy a supercar, or do you buy a bunch of like
I can
lower
answer that
level cars?
Real quick with no dollar.
Well, I know what you would answer. I know what you would answer.
I don't think you're not an answer. Not entirely.
Well, no, I don't know which car exactly, but I know if given the option between a Ferrari or 10 Fox body Mustangs, you'd choose 10 Fox body Mustangs. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, depending on the Ferrari, I'd probably take 10 Fox body Mustangs too.
Let me surprise you here real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to do it real quick. Okay. First and foremost, the last year they made, I think it was like 2006 Hummer H1 with a Cummins swap, because that's like my dream vehicle. If I could just daily drive, that's what I'd want.
Heck yeah. That's about as American as it gets.
Heck yeah, man. And it'd be a civilian one too, because it's got a luxury. The military ones are cool, but leather seats are cool.
You got to bring the wife,
right? Yeah, for sure. Second, a little jealous because you actually own one of my dream vehicles, a 1-ton Ram 2500, Cummins turbo diesel. Also, that'd probably be my towing vehicle. Then I would definitely have some sort of really cool rock crawling, probably something totally custom. Could be a Jeep, could be a Bronco, could be whatever. Could be just like a completely fabbed up vehicle, but
one of those weird pivot tweaky things.
And I think I'd have to have the ultimate street vehicle, so I'd probably have some sort of GTR. And because I mean it kind of is the ultimate street vehicle, honestly. Like these days.
They're another one that it's like maddening. It seems you could watch twin turbo nitrous Viper pull up with 3 times the power, it seems like, of the GTR, and somehow the GTR just destroys it.
Yeah.
Like, it blows my mind every year at Texas 2K for like the drag racing or the roll racing. Mm-hmm. Oh, this Viper is 2,000 horsepower versus 1,500 horsepower GTR.
And you're talking about track racing. It doubles its efficiency on the concrete, because anything rear-wheel drive, if you make over 500 horsepower at the wheels and you only have 2 wheels making power, it's hard to hook up anything on regular streets. So that all-wheel drive, it makes it even more efficient. So there's that. And then my final thing would have to go exotic, and one of my other dream cars since I was a little kid, the Ferrari GT40.
Yep. Okay. Respect on that, my friend. So
everything's 4-wheel drive except the GT40.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yep. That's what I like, man.
Heck yeah.
I would like to throw in some stuff like the Fox body, but we only got 5, so I go with that.
Yeah, and that's too attainable.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like, yeah. All right, buddy. Well, thanks for getting back with me. Little surprise for listeners. We recorded this episode like a week ago.
2.0.
But I tried to be fancy and do 2 different recordings and only recorded my audio and not Brandon's. So we're doing it again. But thanks for being a champ and getting back with me. And let's see. Follow me on Instagram. I'm cartoon_channel on Instagram. The podcast is available all major platforms: Apple, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. The audio gets posted every week on YouTube, on just Cartoon on YouTube. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, that's just the audio. I'm working on getting video. That's going to take a little bit more just because I want to do it a certain way. But that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you later.